Can you all hear me? Good morning. All right. Good morning. I hope everyone can hear me. All right then. The time is 8:03. Welcome to another episode of the Morning Market Review. And we're going to be looking at everything or most of what the market has actually done this week. I know as traders, or if you're a trader, I'm sure that at this point in time, some people may be wondering what's going on in the market. Is something happening? Is there something we don't know about? I hope you guys are able to follow the information behind whatever it is going on in the market, because all these things happening in the market, the buys and the sells, something is definitely, making them move. And at this point, as a trader, you don't want to say you're not aware. If you do not know what is happening within the market you trade, please, that's why you have your account officer. You can always speak to them. Hey, what's going on with gold? What's going on with, whatever instrument that you trade, so that you are able to take advantage of the opportunities. Don't forget, like I would always say, that you are still an investor. It doesn't matter how much you're putting in the market. I'm putting my 100K, you are investing in the market. How are you, what kind of portfolio are you into? Do you know what is happening within that particular portfolio? You need to be aware of that. So welcome to another morning market review class. So let's just give an extra 2 minutes, yes, 2 minutes, so that at least more people can join the class, because today is also going to be a very interesting one. If you've gone through your Forex Factory already, you would see that we have some very juicy, in fact, since yesterday, we've had very juicy news that actually dropped. And I know some people were able to make some really good money from it yesterday. What about you? Were you able to do something? If you were not able to take advantage of the fundamental yesterday, don't worry. Today, the market has something very interesting for us to look at. I'm very sure by now, I think there is nobody who is a trader here that should know by now understand how interest rates and inflation is affecting our market. If at this point in time you do not know how these two things are affecting the market, then please, you should speak to your account officer, because right now the world is looking at inflation, interest rates, looking at the US, how strong their economy is. Because if you've been, if you're a currency trader, you know that most of the effects that we're having on our major pairs has a lot to do with the USD, based on what the US, don't forget that US is world power. And that is why whatever it is that we are doing, the market pays attention to the USD, because it is world power, whatever economy and whatever country you go to today in the world, except from Russia, you are able to use the USD as a payment. Yeah, so definitely I'll be sharing my screen now, and we would be looking at, first of all, what the Forex Factory has for us this morning. All right, so let's see what the Forex Factory has for us this morning. So I hope one can actually see my screen now. I hope you all can see my screen. So you can see that starting from, this week, we started this week with a very silent market, apart from, the statements we had from the ECB bank president. And on Tuesday, the Eurozone came in handy with some really good fundamentals, and even the USD. And on Wednesday, we saw the AUD. Now, one thing I think I noticed with a lot of clients is the fact that most of you don't take opportunities of the Eurozone. You don't take advantage of, the AUD zone. You can see that the fact, yes, the US is very important, but there's also a lot of opportunities here, because every other region actually releases their data, just like, the USD. Like now, AUD CPI came out on Wednesday. I know not a lot of people took advantage of that. And then we saw yesterday, now the market got very interesting yesterday when we saw the advanced GDP. Now, a lot of people don't understand, what's this news about? Why does it have so much impact? Now, when you talk about advanced GDP or when you talk about GDP, you're talking about the gross, you're looking at an economy in general. You're not just looking at it based on currencies or stocks. You're looking at how that economy has been able to do all round. You're looking at what the economy has been. So at the end of the day, it's just like you have your midterms, the way you have your final exams. A GDP is like a final exams to all of this CPI, all of this FOMC that we actually see. A GDP is saying that now we're looking at the economy in a whole. What have they been able to do in every sector? And then we're maybe scoring them over 100. Now, GDP says, over that 100, what have you been able to do? So at this point in time, if it comes out bad for the economy, both currencies and stocks will do bad. And then we also went forward to see unemployment claims. I already know that when it comes to unemployment claims, we're talking about the amount of people that have been able to say, hey, I am unemployment and I'm unemployed and I actually need support from the government. So these are the things that that let you know whether or not an economy is doing so well. If you had let's say if you have about, let's say, 100 people in an economy and 75 people are telling you I'm not working and I need you to support me, it tells you that the economy is not actually doing good. It tells you that the economy is not doing so good. So these are the things you want to be able to know at this point in time. Because if you look at inflation, if you look at interest rates, I know we have clients here that would say, I do not trade fundamentals. That is fine. However, you do not want to be completely ignorant about your fundamentals, because at the stage to which we are right now on the market, that we have inflation and interest rates, fundamentals is going to be a major pusher. I mean, fundamentals would be giving directions, because now fundamentals are going to now actually serve their purpose in becoming economic indicators. So as much as maybe you're a technical trader, that is good, but please do not be completely don't say, oh, because I don't trade fundamentals, so I don't know, I don't need to know when I have fundamentals, because trust me, you don't want to actually be doing anything that is actually going to make you lose some good amount of money on the market. Now, we woke up this morning to some very interesting news from the JPY zone. You see, Bank of Japan outlook reports, Bank of Japan policy rates, monetary policy statements, and Bank of Japan press statement. So all of this red envelope that we are seeing it, they were telling us this is just like the US FOMC. What we have here, this press states conference policy statement, it's just like when the US have their. So we came out to let us know what is happening within the economy and if they are looking to, increase interest rates, which they are not looking at. And I'm saying that the Asian currencies right now do not look good compared to the US dollars, because they are not. Don't forget that as the world was suffering inflation from last 2 years, Japan was actually in deflation. So there was no need to increase interest rate. But to where inflation has gotten to at this particular point in time, they are beginning to feel the heat. But when it comes to increasing interest rate is a very aggressive move. And that is how the US operates. It's not like it's something, it is when inflation needs to be put down, like at all costs, that you go for those interest rates, increase. And even if the US has been doing it for the past 2 years, it has not actually been working out. And then today, by 1:30, we're going to be having core PCE price index. Please, I like being very simple when it comes to the market, because the market is actually simple. You don't have to know. Well, so if maybe this particular, all this plenty English is too much, just come here. It tells you is a change of price of goods and services. So that tells you what this particular news is trying to calculate or tell you about is inflation, the change in the price of goods and services produced by consumers, excluding food and energy. So definitely it is a high impact news, because before I buy a bag of rice, like now, if we used to buy a bag of rice for like 80 something thousand, that was somewhere last month, and now they are saying it is back to 50 something. They check all these things. Okay, so has inflation, because this is are the things that they use to measure inflation. They used to know, okay, has price changed? What has it changed to? This is all information that every country should be able to deliver, but where we are. And then revised UOM consumers sentiment. This is talking about the level of a composite index based on surveyed consumers. So letting us know what exactly we should be expecting in our next interest rate hike. That is, are they still going to actually be increasing interest rates? Are they still going to be leaving it unchanged? Or are they still going to be dropping it? Don't forget that the US have been talking about dropping interest rates as early as March. But look at where we are now, and they are saying, oh, but if the economy is still telling us that we have high inflation, there is no way that they should be dropping interest rate at this particular point in time, because the goal is still to, drop interest rate to as low as 2%. However, we're still far from there. So now let's actually go to the chart and see opportunities that we can actually take advantage today. So I like to start with my USD IDX. So we saw that this particular news, that's the GDP, actually did well for the dollar yesterday, and we've been able to see that this particular instrument too actually did over 100% retracement. I think that should literally tell us something. I mean, if an economy comes out to say we are doing so well and it gives a boost, and then market is able to do over 100% retracement, it tells you that, okay, so it seems that maybe the dollar is not as strong as it claims to be. However, this morning, just like I said, we most of the news, like the fundamentals that we're expecting to get against the dollar. For instance, if the Bank of Japan actually came out this morning to say, okay, you know what, we're increasing interest rate, we might have seen some a different move in the markets based on the fact that, don't forget that when you're comparing two instruments, when you're doing any instrument right now that has to do with the USD, honestly, you need to focus on what the USD is doing, because the USD is playing some very major impact on the market. So right now you see that as much as it has dropped to this untested support, it has actually started to pick up its buy. So if you check this morning, every instrument based on every currency paired with the USD is literally just following what the USD IDX is doing. And that is why. So for me this morning, we could see that market has not been able, don't forget, we have a fundamentals. One thing I love about fundamentals is that even if you're not a trader of fundamentals, if you're willing to take a trade that morning, market is able to help you with a set, because you'd see markets do some movement and it's able to help you with some good entry and exit point so that you don't have to get stuck on the market. So let me increase my chart so that we can see this. Okay, so we can see that for the beginning of today, after my 1 hour, market has come in this particular area. So any buy we're going to take is definitely going to be above here. So I'll be taking the buy for my USD IDX here. If I want to play it safe, I will take it when price break my 23.6 and follow to my untested resistance. But I can take my buy from here. Okay, yes, let me. All right. So yes, I'll take my buy at price 105.632 and take profit just before my untested resistance at 105.769. So I'm going to take my buy when price is able to break. Don't forget that looking at where candlestick is presently, price has not been able to break it. that particular region ever since, the market picked up this morning. So you would not want to say, okay, I'm taking an instant buy. You want to be able to make sure that this particular resistance zone has been able to, your candlestick has been able to pass through, so that, and then you can even take your, just like I said before, this other region of resistance. And definitely seeing that market has not been able to break this particular place from a sell. Now, for me, a sell, you can take your sell right here at 105.274. But naturally, what I would do is, for me personally, I take my sell when price is able to break my control, this quick fib line. I can take a quick sell and then leave it to test my 38.2 region. Like I said, we have fundamentals. You want to use good lot size when you see short trades like this. You want to be able to use good lot sizes, but also you also do not want to get stuck, because this is a high impact news. The market is waiting. And if you joined at the beginning of the class, I remember I said that you want to pay attention to fundamentals, because fundamentals is literally giving directions. Markets would always respect technicals, yes, but investors are putting money based on fundamentals, based on the news. So they are actually serving as economic indicators. So if I want to know if the USD is doing good, apart from the buys and sells that maybe would have done on the chart, I want to also know what data is saying. So that is why fundamentals are quite, important. So now, like I said, for me personally, I would take, this will be my entry as a 105.397, and my take profit would be where I have my second sell. However, if you do not have the capital and also do not have the risk, you can wait for price to get to your second entry, which is 105.274, and take your profit. Let's say here, just at the end of this candle. Yes, that is having the fundamentals in mind. That is at 105.147. So that is your take profit. So if you have some very good lot size, like I said, for me this morning, what I'll probably do for my sell, if price is able to return here, is once it breaks my quick fib line, I will take that entry and follow it to my untested support. It's going to be a dicey trade. However, like I said, you don't have to take that one. You can wait for price to break my 38.2 and follow it to 105.14. That is it for my USD IDX. Now, Euro USD, you could see that I love fundamentals. I don't know why, because you can see that if you check most of your instrument today, even the way technical is going to play it, it's between a resistance and a support. And the last time I was here, the last time I took this class, we had the fundamentals that day, and it actually was doing the same thing. So, this makes it easy for you to not get stuck on this market. So now you can see that from the beginning of today, price, like I said, sometimes you don't have to overdo. The market is as simple as what you see. Sometimes you don't have to over calculate. Yes, it's not an over calculating thing. Sometimes you just need to use your eyes, see it, because price action will definitely happen. See, look for the high, the low, and then be realistic with your take profit. That is depending on the kind of trader that you are. Are you a high long-time trader, short-time trader? Good lot size is always what is going to help, play out some certain projections here. So you can see that it came here, tested the verified resistance, and it's back down. However, I would not take an instant sell, but I'll take a sell once price actually breaks my lowest candle for today. You can see at this particular point, even where I just placed this particular green line, you'd see that there is a resistance there. You could see that at this point, price came here, tested, went back down, came here, tested it here. So I would move my sell a little bit lower, because it can actually come here. You can see that it came here, hit this particular place, and went up. So we don't want to take a sell when price comes down here, he hits here and start to go back up, because this can actually be serving as a support and resistance region, even if it's not actually been marked by the indicator itself. So, you let price break a bit. Let me look at it on a lesser time frame. Okay, so let's do this on the 30. Okay, yes, let's do this on the 30 minutes. So definitely, if I'm doing this on 30 minutes, all I need to do is wait for this candle to finish and follow the next candle. Yes, once this candle closes, if it's retracing a buy, I would follow the buy and take profit to my verified resistance. And if I really do want to wait, I could wait for it to test my weak support again and follow a buy. But definitely, we're going to see this particular instrument stay between this support and resistance zone to the news is out. And then if I want to take a more confirmed buy, then I would watch it once it buys, once it sells to this point. Guys, please listen. Once it sells to this point at price 1.07152, if it's good once it begins a retracement, you follow the buy and make sure that you take your profit respecting the bodies of these two candlesticks at 1 that's for a buy. So what I'm saying, you wait for this buy to finish, for this sell to finish. If it's going to use here as a support, once it begins to retrace, you actually follow the buy back. So it's more like saying, I would have said we should set a buy limit, but I want to make sure that I want to confirm this particular zone here. So you wait for price to get to this zone. When you actually do that, you once if a retracement begins, you follow the buy back up and take your retrace you take your TP at 1.07346. However, if it's going to continue selling, wait for price to break below. Sorry, my mouse is. Wait for price to break below this candle, and then you follow it to this particular zone, your untested support. But you don't have to wait for price to get there, paying respect to the body of the candles that we have here. So I hope we actually got that. Now, looking at USD JPY. You can see that the news did not do well for them, as you saw. Yeah, you can see how this particular instrument, the USD, gained massive strength on. I would see like it has broken support. It has like you can see that there is like nothing left to break. So it's like it could actually just keep buying. It has broken, in fact, every resistance, you can see that every resistance on our hourly time frame has now become a support. That's how, it is for USD and JPY. And that's why this particular instrument is very interesting, because one thing about JPY is if it is falling, it falls scatter. And if it is buying, it buys. Because trust me, as much as maybe this might look bad for the JPY, I'm still expecting something. I'm expecting them to actually have a very good comeback. Now, this is not a time, I would not advise anyone right now to, dash in for a buy. Yes, it can actually continue to buy, but like I said, I would not expect anyone to dash because it has been buying since this morning. For me to be comfortable with a buy, I would want to see a retracement happen, at least a little retracement, like the way it broke the support, it did a little retracement and it pushed higher. Now it's just giving us pulls, 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 pulls. So I would like to see a little bit of flag in retracement, and then when a buy starts, then I follow the buy. So you can actually watch out. I think for this particular trade, I would prefer instant trade. That is, if you want to trade this market, please watch it closely. Like I said, for me to continue with a buy, I want to see at least an amount of retracement before, I follow it back up. However, looking at where price is right now, like I said, I would expect a retracement. So this is on 30 minutes on my 1 hour. Wait for this candle to close. And then if when it starts a retracement, you can follow the retracement. And then when it's going back up, can just do exactly that. But I would not enter a buy right now. I would not take a buy trade right now. I do not want to take that risk at all because, and then like also keeping in mind that we still have a news from from the USD by 130. So you want to follow the little retracement and be out of this market. But I would not advise that you actually just go in and settle because as of this morning, it has done nothing but buys this morning. You can see the beginning here. The news came out and it's been on its way up. Like I said, they had a news this morning. So now looking at my AUD USD, you see verified support resistance. Market is still doing its thing, playing it out every day. So now for me this morning, on my AUD USD, I will take a sell once price has actually broken below this point at price 0.65098. That is now, if you actually look closely with me, you'd see that we have support here. So I will take a sell once price has actually gotten here, or I could take a sell once price breaks this particular zone. And sure. Once price breaks here. Okay. Let's just leave it at this because, like I said, we don't want to really test some waters this morning. It's very bit of fundamental on the way. So I'll just take a sell for me when price gets 0.65117 and follow it down. You don't have to wait for price to, okay? So looking at it on 30 minutes, I think this one would be more interesting because we have a tone code resistance right here. So it has tested the stone cold resistance. So you can follow it from here. If your candles should start buying, because it seems it's trying to break this stone cold resistance. So once it gets to start buying, you can actually take the buy. Make sure you're out of the market, at least at this point, for a buy. And for a sell, once price gets to this point, you take a sell and follow it to the big support. Yes. So a buy because price, I don't think we would see price break this stone cold resistance. So I feel a buy is going to happen, but you need to, respect the candles that has been done today. Take if it's able to break this point, you can keep going. But like I said, we have a news coming up. So we would see market respect technicals before that news is out. So now let's talk about gold. I know that gold has actually, decided to have its own mind. Normally, we see gold respects dollar a lot, but for a while these days, we've seen gold actually have a mind of its own, and that will just only tell you how profitable commodity is. Like as much as you want to talk about currencies, as much as you want to talk about indices, you cannot downplay commodities. And that is why if you decide to own your own country tomorrow, that is, if you decide to say, you know what, I'm tired of Nigeria, I'm going to create my own country. Try to make sure that the currency that you're actually going to adapt should be backed up by commodity, should be backed up by commodity, because that would actually help your currency, not lose unnecessary value, and it would always be in demand. So now for gold, we can see that gold has actually gotten to an untested resistance here. You see that this point is a very important point for gold. And based on how the news has actually, that is the fundamentals have actually affected it. However, let's look at what it has been able to do on the long run, like monthly. You can see that for gold has been on a high, has broken the tone code resistance on a monthly time frame. That was, you can see that gold was up also last month, and it looks like it wants to do the same. However, retracements are beginning to happen. So let's go back to gold on hourly time frame. Good. So for me this morning, I will take a buy for gold when price breaks my 38.2 and then take my profit at the turn code resistance or even before. Like I said, good one. And then a sell would come just when it comes back to close below this particular candle that is trying to close right now, just there, and I will take a sell just yes at this particular point. So I will take a buy for gold this morning at 2348.59 and take my take profit at 2353.95. I'll take a sell when price closes below the present candle at 2336.59 and take profit at 2329.43. That is my entry for gold this morning. Now, let's talk about oil. Now, oil has been very interesting this particular couple of days. And just like I said, the USD, I don't know what to say, but the market right now is on halt because of them. Like everybody's looking at the USD to know if I should do oil. Everybody's looking at the USD to almost do everything. It shows you how powerful it is to be world power. And even let's not forget that with oil, with the things happening in the Middle East, three things affecting oil: the Middle East, the war we have between Russia, Ukraine, Israel, Hamas. We also have the interest rate, and we also have inflation. These are basically the things driving the market right now: the war, interest rate, inflation. So, like I said, you do not just want to consider yourself a trader, do I buy or sell? You consider yourself an investor. You consider yourself an investor. If I have 500,000 and I'm looking to invest in oil, what is inflation telling me about this? What is the war telling me about this? And what is interest rate telling me about this? Even you too, when you think like that, you would see that you're able to see how or why the market moves the way it does. I don't know if any of us have been able to see that particular interview that Dangote had earlier, was it last month? And he was asked, they asked him, how do you do so well in everything that you do? Like, you decide to do this, you're doing good. You decide to do this, you're doing good. And all he said was knowledge. And that is the same thing that it requires you to actually make good money on the market. All he said was there is nothing you would ask him right now in any of the business that he's doing, and he cannot tell you what is happening to that particular commodity globally or, on a local level. When you talk about fertilizers, he knows what he's talking about. When you talk about cement, he knows what he's talking about and all of that. So yes, you do not want to just say, oh, I'm trading the market and I cannot do this, I cannot do that, I cannot look at that, I cannot look at this. You're not going to earn any serious money from it at all. So now for oil this morning, you could see that oil has come to respect this this untested resistance right here. So a buy will definitely do when price is able to break above this particular resistance. So once price is able to do that, you can take your buy at price 88.58 and take your profits just above this retracement point, or yes, at your 50.0. You can just follow it there. Once price break there, you can follow it to the next one. And then I'll take a sell on price break below the lowest candle of today for me at price 87.89 and take my profits before or on the verified resistance. So buy once price break our untested resistance and follow it to the next retracement point, and a sell when price breaks the lowest candle for today and follow it to my verified resistance. Definitely, we'll definitely be seeing more movement from oil when we get the fundamentals as well, or even before then. You should know that this is one instrument that respects your tech. It's moved by demand and supply. So I'm sure if you're a trader of oil, you know that. In fact, fundamentals would not stop oil from doing its own movements before any fundamentals. So that would be my entry point for oil today. Now let's talk about indices. Yes, indices. Now you should know by now that your US 30, US 100, US 2000 always, they follow each other except on rare occasions. Now, what has been driving this market, especially when you talk about your US 100 and US 2000? AIs. Don't forget that when we started to talk about AIs, I remember saying this in the morning market review class. When we spoke about AIs, I said AIs would get to a point whereby it would begin to, as much as it would make a lot of money, it's going to have its own controversies. Yes. So, this week, don't forget that some of the instruments or some of the index that we have on 30, you would find on 100, you'd also find on 2000 and 500. Now, let me give you guys the gist in what is happening in this in the index indices, right? So now you know that when you talk about 100, you have a lot of AI companies, and these AI companies, or these companies that are adapting AIs, always they'll tell you how much they are looking to invest in a particular AI. And they'll still come and tell you how much they actually made from it on the long run. That is why were able to buy and sell. And that's one thing I enjoy about this market. Now, we saw Meta. When you talk about Meta, you're talking about Facebook. You're talking about Instagram. They came out yesterday to give us their earnings of what their AI has been able to make. If you use WhatsApp and Instagram by now, I'm sure we all have Meta AIs that has been installed for us. Now, they came out yesterday to tell us, okay, with this Meta AI that we have installed, this is how much it has been able to do for us. And, it didn't come out good. It did not come out good at all. They were looking at spending over $40 billion on an AI. They called it something pro, I think. But with what the current AI came out yesterday to say, they actually had over 15% losses. That is 200, they lost 200 billion in 10 minutes. That was what happened on this market yesterday. When they came out to say, you could see that drop on US 2000. They came out to say, you know what? This thing is not making us as much money as we actually intended. And in 10 minutes, Meta, that is Facebook and Instagram, lost 200 billion in shares. That's a net worth of some companies, right? And it actually cost stock to rip yesterday. We saw the fall in 2000, and at least we're even seeing that US 100 has been able to, regain some losses. Look at 30 did the same thing yesterday, the sell. And even if it has actually done some major retracement, we still have news coming from Apple and Amazon next week. And if they also come out telling us the same thing, it's actually going to shift investor sentiment. Don't forget that investors actually believe a lot in AIs, and that is why no matter the retracements we see on this instrument, we also see a pullback up. However, if the news coming out from this instrument now or from these companies that actually manufacture or even use these AIs are saying that these AIs don't really work, it might actually shift consumer sentiment. So that is why, if you followed us from the beginning of I think last year, we talk about diversifying your portfolio. So this is a time that as investors, you want to diversify, you want to look at, other things that can make you money. You see, investors don't just sit down on one particular portfolio and say, this is what I'm doing. You need to shift for money to shift. So let's just take entry point on our indices and see how the day is going to run. So now you can see that, like I said, support, resistance, support. So for me on US 30, a buy would happen when price breaks your weak support. Your weak resistance, I mean, please take a buy from there and follow to the quote resistance. Don't forget that once there is no fundamentals, this particular market is a strong respecter of support and resistance. And also at this point as well, it's going to do just that before the fundamental. A sell will happen for me once price break below my lowest candle of today and take my TP. I would have two TPs for my sell. This is going to be my first CP. That's at 38147. And if it falls below that, I can take my second TP at 38048. But like I said, I would wait for this candle to break here first, follow it here and then here. But let me look at it on a smaller time frame. Let's see if we're able to take any instant buy. You can see that on this particular time frame, price has actually marked this place as a resistance. So literally two candles, but I would not advise you to take that risk. So just wait for a cut clear direction before, the fundamentals. Now for US 100, you can see that has basically done the same thing. So when price is able to break this particular candle, I will take my sell and follow it to my next retracement point. And if price gets to this point again and does the retracement from there, like I would take the buy and follow it to my weak resistance, or not to the weak resistance, follow it to this particular area where price has just marked for today. So I'm saying if price retraces from 17722.8, I take a buy to 17802.10. However, for my sell, I'll wait for price to break that 17722.81, then take my profit at 17656.30. And then my US 2000 doing exactly the same thing. So it seems the market is expectant of the news. Wait for price to break below here, because don't forget that this is one very volatile instrument. So you don't want to get caught in the fake out. A sell will happen for me when price gets to 1977.5 and take profit at 1966.9. Taking a sell at 1977.5 and take profit at 1966.9, and a buy is going to happen when price actually breaks above my quote resistance at 1997.4 and take profit at 2008.7. So I hope we actually got this, and I hope we actually understand what is happening with the market right now, so that we do not get stuck. We have news coming in, so we should be expectant of that. The market is still going to do its own thing before the news, so try to take advantage, but also please try not to get stuck. The news is going to be a very volatile one, so you also want to prepare yourself, get your accounts funded, know what you need to know. Speak to your account officer before that time, so that you're able to take maximum and make maximum profit from your account size. So thank you very much once again. My name is Anita Danladi, and it was nice, getting to make money with every single one of you. So please do have a nice day. If you have any questions, please, that is why you have your account officers, reach out to them and they would help you. So thank you very much for your time and enjoy the rest of your day. Please don't forget 1:33 p.m. we have news. Please have a good day.